And let's get you details of what's really happening in different parts of Ukraine on day 43 of the war. No de-escalation, no progress as far as peace talks between Russia and Ukraine are concerned. And that's why we're still seeing more attacks, more bombardment and shellings, as you see on your screens there. On Wednesday, Ukraine warned residents of eastern Ukraine to evacuate Kharkiv, Luhansk and Donetsk immediately or risk death. Russia has been on a relentless bombing spree, intensifying attacks in the country's southern as well as eastern parts. The Luhansk governor, therefore, has put out a warning that Russia is building up troops for an all-out offensive in the coming 3 to 4 days. He also claimed that Russian forces are continuing to attack the city of Popasna with rocket launchers and aircraft, due to which evacuation of civilians has been hindered. Russia, meanwhile, has been further isolated globally over the massacre in Bucha. The UNGA, the UN General Assembly, today will be holding a vote to expel Russia from the Human Rights Council. This comes days after Ukrainian President Zelensky spoke at the UN Security Council and demanded Russia's expulsion from the UNSC. Russia, meanwhile, has defended itself over the Bucha massacre, saying that it was completely staged and orchestrated to derail peace talks.
В последние дни пропагандистская машина Запада и Украины работает исключительно на раздувание истерики вокруг видеоряда, который был снят украинскими, как мы понимаем, военными, Украинской службой безопасности в городе Буча Киевской области. Мы склонны думать, что причина заключается в желании найти повод сорвать ведущиеся переговоры. Причем это сделать именно в тот момент, когда, как говорится, забрезжил, пусть еще не очень яркий, но все-таки...
Kalibr cruise missiles lift off from a small Russian Navy ship in the Black Sea, aimed at 7 different targets in southern Ukraine. A Russian Su-35 air superiority fighter taking off and conducting a strike mission on an undisclosed target inside Ukraine. A Russian anti-air system launching and hitting what is claimed to be a Ukrainian Bayraktar drone, an unmanned system that has been giving hell to Russian vehicles in the weeks gone by. And these latest images of Russian Onyx supersonic cruise missile being launched at Ukrainian targets in the eastern part of the country. The de-escalation by Russia in the central and western parts of Ukraine are being matched with corresponding escalation in the southern and eastern parts of the country, borne out by an unending stream of footage of the targeted attacks.
The domination of eastern Ukraine will require sustained escalation in this part of the country. And that's what we are witnessing as we travel through the Donbas region.
The Russian forces are regrouping with attacks from land and from sea. The southern part has become the prime target in the second phase of war.
In the airspace above Ukraine, Russia continues to be challenged formidably by Ukraine's weapons. This is a Russian Su-35 air superiority fighter that was shot down using NATO weaponry earlier this week. The pilot now in Ukrainian captivity. But could Russia be planning to deploy its stealth fighter, the Su-57, to conduct strike missions in Ukraine? The Su-57 is the 5th generation fighter built to remain barely visible to radar and other sensors, and could trump Ukraine's air defenses, or at least make life more difficult for them. A citizen's video in the early days of the war was believed to be Su-57 on a test bombing mission over the city of Zhytomyr west of Kyiv, though this advanced aircraft type definitely hasn't been deployed in any real numbers. With Putin narrowing his attacks to the southern and eastern parts of Ukraine, the strength of Russia's military could become more concentrated. With thousands of square kilometers of Ukraine already laid to waste, could what come next be Putin's most decisive escalation? With Mausami Singh in southern Ukraine and Geeta Mohan in eastern Ukraine, Bureau Report, India Today.
And let's focus on what's happening in Bucha, where the details of the massacre are still in the city. With every passing day, volunteers on the ground are finding more and more civilian bodies, so much so that authorities say that the number of dead in Bucha could be 300 plus. This even as now there is growing international pressure on Russia. Moscow maintains that this entire Bucha massacre was staged by Ukraine.
Pope Francis kissed a battered Ukraine flag brought from Bucha to drive home the shock and agony of the world at the mass killings in this little town on the outskirts of Kyiv.
After World War II, an attempt was made to lay the foundations for a new history of peace. But unfortunately, we are not learning. The old story of competing great powers has continued, and in the current war in Ukraine, we are witnessing the impotence of United Nations.
Even as Bucha coped with the brutality unleashed on its people, more bodies surfaced as special forces of the Ukrainian army sanitized every lane of the suburban city.
There is some activity that is going on there. There is some suspect that seems to have been spotted. That area, there are Ukraine army personnel who are deployed here. We've been asked to stay back as these personnel keep an eye on activities that are going on in Bucha. Remember, Bucha is being sanitized. Every lane of Bucha is currently being sanitized. This is the heart of Bucha, and the special forces are here. And they're clearing they're clearing this area. They're clearing every area right now, going from lane to lane, clearing areas. There was some suspicious activity that was noticed, and that is why they're sanitizing this area before they leave. Now, everyone who's got here, their background is checked, and only once their antecedents have been verified are they cleared to move forward or they're detained. In Bucha, it is still feared that there are some pockets where there could be either some spies, soldiers or fighters who could still be hiding, and that is why this clearance operation is currently underway.
Ukraine claims more than 300 civilians were brutally killed in Bucha by Russian forces. Moscow claims its army had no hand in the killings, as Russian troops had left Bucha days before the bodies were found.
What's extremely significant is President Zelensky of Ukraine has sought international assistance to carry out an independent investigation. Forensic investigators have been sought from several countries to come to Bucha and gather information and intelligence and evidence against Russia for alleged war crimes. According to the government in Ukraine, it's the 64th Motorized Division that had its brigades here in Bucha, and international investigations are actually going door to door. One, gathering information in terms of evidence that people may want to give, also video evidence, and two, when postmortems are carried out, evidence is being gathered of crimes against women, crimes against innocents in terms of their hands being tied behind their backs before they were shot dead. All of that evidence is being gathered, and teams of doctors are also going to help people. For example, this is the ICRC, the International Committee of the Red Cross, that's also going to provide medicines and other assistance that people may require. In Bucha, on day 42 of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, with cameraman Lalit Mohan Joshi, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
India Today is getting you reports from across Ukraine. We've ensured that our reporters are getting you first-hand accounts of what's really happening in the war zone. Moshmi Singh is now in the port city of Odessa. This is in South Ukraine. And she filed this detailed report of what the situation is in a city like Odessa, where the fighting is still very much on. And she's shown us how young children, how teenagers are also now stepping up, trying in any way they can to also pitch in and help the Ukrainian army.
So on our way on the outside outskirts of Odessa. We hit this barricade and which was manned by these two youngsters, Ivan and Maxim. You can see both of them holding their toy guns. Yes, those are toy guns, but they have prepared this check post by themselves. In fact, they wanted to do it, and in participation with the civil defense here, they have prepared this entire check post. So you see, they are wearing a uniform, synchronized with their jackets and sweatshirts. And here they've built tires, put tires on the road. Here there is a manual checking that's happening on this entire site, barricades, and even all this done by you all the children?
Это была моя идея построить этот блокпост. Мы гуляли с моими друзьями, нам стало, мы увидели в интернете, что нашего возраста дети так же само делали его. И мы решили тоже построить. Мы сначала не думали, немного погуляемся, а потом В один день до нас приехали военные, дали нам повязки. Потом нам это понравилось, и мы начали его еще больше и больше делать.
All right, you can understand that how Ivan is talking about the way he's created this entire thing. What did he say, Olga?
Ivan has told that it was his own idea. When war started, they saw our army, they saw everything in the network, and they have decided that they need to help our army as they can. Their children, they made it themselves. They asked, of course, adults helped them with everything to construct this, but the idea was child's.
Their idea, and
And also, they want to do something to help our army.
So here we have sir from the civil defense. Can we have a word with him? Yes, sure. Children, sir, are very active and energetic.
Тогда я скажу то, что хорошо. Смотрите, народ, который воюет за свою землю и за независимость, становится нацией. И чтобы вы убедились в этом, вот пример. То есть у нас Украина многонациональное государство. Украинцы, россияне, русские, оружие. Да, и они с утра идут в школу, учатся, потом приходят сюда.
Importantly, a big message. Olga, what did sir say?
He said that people in Ukraine, before this war, there were a lot of nationalities who lived in Ukraine in peace. But when war starts, all these people of different nationalities, in Odessa region there are more than 200 nationalities, different nationalities, and they became one nation, yes. People gathered together. They are ready to help each other. They are ready to protect our earth. Because people want to be independent. Ukraine wants to be an independent country. It was before Russian aggression. And even these children, they understand that this is important. It's like a game for them. Yes, it's like a game, but they love their homeland. Ukrainians love their homeland very hard, very strong, and are ready to protect it. And they are not soldiers. I will tell once more, that it's like a game, but they love their earth, and they want defend it in their own power. They are not taking guns, but they are doing what they can do. And
so it's a message, yes.
And he knew about this checkpoint when he they cook meal for checkpoints. And when he took for 14 checkpoints. Somebody told him, no, we have 15 checkpoints. Where is it? And when he came, he saw that this is children's checkpoint.
Children's checkpoint. Children's checkpoint. Yes.
Вот на этом примере вы можете убедиться, насколько сильна воля к победе и уверенность в победе украинского народа, насколько мы готовы, и мы это сделаем, мы выгоним.
This is example how we are sure that we will win this war. It shows how much we wish to turn our peaceful life, to turn back Crimea and all Ukraine together. Not parts, not small parts, like they are trying to do. No, one Ukraine, one independent Ukraine.
Батько наш Бандера, Україна мати, ми за Україну підем воювати. Батько наш Бандера, Україна мати, ми за Україну підем воювати. Героям слава!
Слава нации!
Смерть ворогам!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Truly, this is a undying spirit of Ukraine, relentless. And, you know, even as we talk, these are cold winds, you know, cold winds are blowing. Come on, Ivan, show us your bunker. So we'll take a look at Ivan's bunker created by children at this children's checkpost. We are in this bunker that has been created by Ivan and Maxim, and this is no child's play because these children are a part of the civil defense team, and that's why you can see that bunkers like these are a common scene in the suburbs and outskirts of the city. These bunkers have been prepared by Ivan, Maxim and his family members. You can see tires here, sacks here. In this medicine kit has been kept with all the necessary medicines. Here for a long haul you can see bread, toast, biscuits, water, and all preparations made. Here you have a blanket, minimum means of survival, but this is a matter of a fight for existence, and that's one reason that why the Russian army is facing such a stiff challenge, because the Ukrainians refuse to bow down, refuse to kneel down in front of the Russian aggression, and in fact it is the strong spirit that prevails in the entire stretch, with the army and the defense services being emboldened by the support and by the bravery of ordinary civilians who are actually stepping up this entire game, making it very, very difficult for the Russians, and many times they've had to take the hit because the civil army of the Ukrainian forces refuses to bow down. With video journalist Parminder Sharma, this is Mosmi Singh in Odessa for India Today.